Welcome to the Tea Huddle with Marisa and Kelly.
Your only source for gridiron gossip.
So, if you're excited for the NFL draft to see which prospect your team is going to get,
or if you're just watching the NFL draft to see who your favorite influencers are about to start dating,
then this is the podcast for you.
Welcome back, Marisa.
Welcome back, Kelly. This is so exciting.
Here we are, end of April.
Months later.
I don't know when that happened, but
Yeah.
off season has been pretty crazy.
Definitely. We are back for 2 special draft episodes. This week, we're going to be getting ready for today. The draft is today. Not today when we're recording, but today when you're listening. And then next week, we'll be back to recap everything that happened. Hopefully,
Some more gossip.
hopefully crazy stuff happened. Like when CeeDee Lamb got drafted, his girlfriend looked at his phone and he took it away from her to stop. So she couldn't look at it. And that was...
Or Will Levis's girlfriend blew up last year.
Yes. What will this year bring? Okay, so before we dive in, for those of us who've maybe never watched a draft before, Kelly, what's the NFL draft? Break it down. I mean, obviously I know, but just in case I didn't.
The NFL draft is when each of the 32 teams take turns selecting the best college prospects. Mm-hmm. It lasts tonight, Thursday, 8 p.m. through Saturday, April 27th. And there are 7 rounds spread over these 3 days. So Thursday, tonight, will just be focused on the first round, which is the best players.
Yeah, the shiniest stars in the sky.
And then from there, it filters through Saturday.
Until Mr. Irrelevant is drafted at the very
Tom
end.
Brady also.
Yeah, what round was he?
He was the 6th round.
Wow.
So you never know who's going to end up as the all-star.
Totally.
That's the fun of it.
I'm psyched.
What has the offseason been like from your point of view, Marisa?
Well, Travis and Taylor went on a romantic tropical vacation and made out all over Coachella. Josh Allen, they really did. It was like Super Bowl night all over again. Just so much footage from so many different angles. Josh Allen ripped his pants while out in Paris with Haley Steinfeld, and Juju Smith-Schuster accidentally Snapchatted a picture of his genitalia. But other than that, it has been a pretty quiet off season, you know? Did you have any favorite moments since the Super Bowl?
Tom Brady did say that he would maybe come out of retirement and play for the Patriots, so that was definitely exciting.
And I saw that he's getting roasted next week.
Yeah, good luck roasting the goat.
Yeah. I feel like it's just going to be a lot of Giselle jokes. Like, your wife left you. You know, that kind of a thing. What else are they going to say? Like, you're better at football than anybody else, whoever did it.
Eli Manning.
Yeah, jokes about that.
Doesn't eat tomatoes.
Yeah. Really quick, not unrelated, but a little. I watched also during the off season on Apple TV Plus, the Dynasty miniseries, which is about the Patriots dynasty, the Belichick, Kraft, Brady era. It was so good.
I mean, I loved reliving all of those years.
I was living it for the first time. Every time they were like, this game, everybody knows this game. I'm like, how's this game going to end? But it was really
I was afraid to watch it because I didn't want to, I don't know, I wanted to save it. I didn't want it to be over.
Yeah.
But I thought it was great. I mean, it's gotten some backlash from some of the players around the treatment of Belichick.
Yes, he was the villain of the story.
We can get into that another day. Yeah, there's lots to unpack there.
We'll dive into that. Sorry, I got distracted. But anyway, okay, so much news was coming in during the off season of trades and moves and extensions and all this football stuff. I was more looking for breakups, as I mentioned, people Snapchatting their private parts, those types of things. But as far as the moves, the trades, that part of it, what were some of the big ones that we missed?
There were so many moves already this offseason, but a few I want to mention is Russell Wilson. He is now on the Steelers from the Broncos. Kirk Cousins, he was traded to the Falcons.
Kirky.
Stephon Diggs, he left the Bills and is now on the Texans. And Saquon Barkley, this is the most shocking one, he left the Giants for the Eagles.
And that is shocking
Because they are division rivals.
And
Saquon said he wanted to be a Giant for life just a few months ago. So
Wow.
he's changing his tune.
Money talks, I guess. Right? That's probably why this happened. Okay, money. Yeah.
Money talks.
Yeah. My favorite part of the moves and the trades drama is that it unfolds in Instagram follows. Like Justin Fields unfollowed the Bears before it was announced that he was leaving. And now Brandon Ayuk has unfollowed the 49ers on Instagram, which either means he is leaving or he wants to leave and they're going to keep him anyway. But I just love, that's the...
Yeah, we're out there. We're following with what you're unfollowing players. So nothing gets by us.
They're like, we're not allowed to say anything, but you can't control who we follow on Instagram. Okay, but I do have some questions about all of this because some lingo was being thrown around that I wasn't familiar with. I had some questions, so I kept a notes app running of questions for Kelly when we resume.
Let's do it.
First one up. What is a franchise tag? There's lots of talk about like, is he going to stay or is he going to be franchise tagged? And I don't know what that is.
So each team can use the franchise tag on one player per offseason. And essentially it's a 1-year deal worth like the average salary of the top 5 players at that position. Other teams can sign that player, but it would cost them additional draft picks.
Oh, okay.
So players don't really like it because it's not really a long-term deal. I mean, you're getting paid a good amount for the 1 year.
For 1 year only.
They would prefer to sign like a 2 to 3 year deal for triple the money versus like the 1 year deal. Mm-hmm. Saquon's an example. He was franchise tagged by the Giants. Look how that worked out for the Giants.
That tag expired and he
went his own way.
Yeah. Okay. All right. What are the rules about talking before a trade? Because everyone's saying like, oh, he's in talks with this or he's in talks with that. But then Kirk Cousins was in prohibited talks, I guess, with the Falcons and maybe Saquon also with the Eagles. And now seems like the Falcons are going to be penalized for their talks. So what?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, there's a period before free agency where players and agents cannot contact personnel of the other team. So they must have reached out to Kirk prior to the free agency. And so that's called the tampering period. Where teams can chat with free agents but cannot officially sign the player. So they probably talked to Kirk and like made a deal like, oh yeah, I'm going to sign with you during that period. And then they'll be penalized for having those conversations.
Got it. I feel like Kirk didn't know he was breaking the rules.
No, he's definitely
he's a rule follower.
He's a rule follower.
Free agents. If someone is a free agent, does that mean they were dropped from their team? Is it good or bad to be a free agent?
A free agent is when your contract expires.
Okay.
So you're not technically on the team, but you weren't dropped. The contract's up and the player is free to sign anywhere once free agency officially starts.
Okay.
So it can be good. If the player wants to leave, they can go anywhere they want. If they want to stay, they might have to negotiate for more money.
Got it. Okay. That would make sense. Okay. I feel very up to speed.
You know we can't go this long without a few arrests. So here is a special edition of
Step Out of the Car. Step out of the car, everybody. Step out of the car.
Our first arrest and most public arrest is a Super Bowl champion wide receiver, Rashee Rice. So if anyone hasn't heard this story, you must be living under a rock because it's
been everywhere.
A crazy story.
Yeah.
But on March 30th, Rashee Rice was driving a Lamborghini and was racing his friend, Theodore Knox, who is a cornerback who plays at SMU. Theodore was driving a Corvette, so they're racing their fancy cars.
It was also the middle of the day. When I think of drag racing, it's like 3 a.m., no cars on the road, like a desolate street somewhere. This was on like a highway at 5 p.m.
Yeah.
Nuts.
They were speeding, obviously. Rashee lost control of his car and crashed the Lamborghini, which caused a train reaction, collision involving 4 other vehicles. So there were 6 vehicles involved. It's reported that Rice was going 119 miles per hour seconds before the crash. The worst part about this is both of them allegedly left following the crash. They didn't check to see if anyone was okay.
There's video of them just walking. They're not even running. When I first read the story, I thought they fled, like ran. They just like sauntered away from a 4-car pileup. We now know that there was a child in one of those cars.
Yeah.
The child's fine.
There are no deaths.
Yeah, which is
but
amazing.
there were people got injured.
Mm-hmm.
Rice currently faces 8 charges in connection with the collision, 1 count of aggravated assault, 1 count of collision involving serious bodily injury, and 6 counts of collision involving injury. So people, they got injured. It was the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Rasheed turned himself into the police eventually, and now is being sued for $10 million. The NFL hasn't decided what they're going to do with him, if they're going to suspend him or how they're going to treat this. They're going to wait, I guess, and see until like the police report is finalized and court case is finalized.
I feel like he should go to prison, right? Is that,
or at least like
Maybe.
definitely like pay like $10 million to everyone who was injured.
Yes, definitely. Super dangerous, super reckless, fleeing the scene of an accident, not turning yourself in for days. It was days when they were trying to determine if he was the one
they like couldn't
driving, which he was. We now know. Not good.
So we'll see what the Chiefs end up doing, what the NFL does. But not cool.
Another wild arrest saga that occurred so far during the offseason is Cameron Sutton, a Lions defensive back. My team, my Lions. I was so proud of their lack of domestic assault. And luckily, they dropped him, spoiler alert. But before they did, the Lions did have, a perpetrator of domestic assault on their team for a bit. So here's the background. On March 7th in Florida, a warrant was issued for Sutton's arrest for domestic battery by strangulation, which is
he should go to jail.
Definitely, for sure. It's a 3rd-degree felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. It was after a fight with a woman. The name of the victim has not been released. I think what happened is she called her sister, her cousin, a relative, and while she was on the phone, that relative called the cops to go to the house where the fight was taking place. By the time they got there, Sutton was gone. During that call, the cops were told that the victim was in fear for her life. So they go to the house, they don't find him, and then they never could find him. He was missing for weeks. They called his phone. His phone was off. So either
if they can't find me, then I can't arrest me.
Yeah. He didn't go to his home. He didn't have his phone on the whole time. This went on for weeks. Then on March 20th, so this happened on March 7th. We still don't know where he was that whole time. On March 20th, they put out a public statement saying we need the public to help us locate him. This is the type of car we suspect he would be driving.
It's like an Amber Alert.
It was like an Amber criminal alert. The very next day, so this happened on the 20th. On the 21st, the Lions announced that they have released him.
I'm glad they acted swiftly.
Yes. I'm sure they knew about it on March 7th, but it became public on the 20th and very quickly after.
Especially if he's running away.
Yes. In 2023, he had signed a 3-year, $33 million deal, so he lost out on
a lot of money.
$20 million plus. Then finally, 10 days later, on March 31st, he turned himself in, but we don't know yet what his sentence will be, if any, but we do know that he is currently not an NFL player because the Lions appropriately dropped him.
Dismissed. And it wouldn't be a draft episode without featuring a prospect who has been handcuffed by authorities. Texas defensive tackle T'Vondre Sweat, who is likely to be selected in round 2 of the draft.
Yeah, so this is what I don't get. If you've been working your whole life leading up to the NFL draft, you had a great showing at the Combine, which we learned about at the beginning of last season. We all know about the Combine now. Everyone's talking about how you're one of the hot prospects. Just behave for like 4 more weeks.
I mean, these kids they are kids.
Yeah, right. That's true. Great point.
They're pretty young.
They're young. Some of them, like, for the first time, have a lot of money and attention and access and things like that. So on April 7th, around 5 a.m., Tavondre Sweat was arrested after a car crash where his orange Ford Bronco, I like that it was orange because he played for Texas. Like, he probably was repping Texas with his orange
on
Bronco.
brand.
Anyway, his Bronco hit a sedan and flipped on its side. He walked away completely unscathed. The passenger of the sedan was also okay. But then the cops found him. He was charged with a DWI after the cops said he had glassy eyes. They suspected he'd been drinking, and his car emitted an odor of burnt marijuana. So I feel like this probably will affect his draft pick. I mean, people have been very badly behaved before. We know Tyreek Hill and ended up getting drafted. Do we know how soon he got drafted?
They waited. I think it was the 5th round.
It was the 5th round. Good memory.
Yeah, because they were hesitating because it was like, do we draft him or not?
Yeah, and he probably would have been much higher drafted.
Yeah,
sooner, earlier, whatever.
Chiefs,
yeah.
So yeah, I'm sure this will impact him. I mean, I guess I feel like the NFL does wait until there's like a final police report or charge, but
right.
Can't be doing that.
Right. Hopefully he learns from his error. Nobody got hurt, and maybe he'll stay on the straight and narrow.
No more drinking and driving.
Yeah.
And that brings us to today's draft segment: studs and duds.
We are going to go over a few of the top prospects, give you some of their stats on and off the field, and decide if they are studs or duds.
Let's hope that some of the quarterbacks in this draft do better than the 2021 quarterbacks, because all 5 of them were traded this offseason except for Trevor Lawrence.
Oh, who else was in that draft class?
Zach Wilson, as we discussed.
Traded by Zach.
Yeah, Trey Lance, he was traded to the Cowboys. Justin Fields traded to the Steelers, and of course our Mac Jones traded to the Jags.
To the Jags. Oh, to play under one of his fellow 2021 draftees.
I know.
Maybe they'll be the best of friends.
Yeah, I think Mac's actually happy about it.
He said that he couldn't be himself in Boston. He couldn't rap. Didn't he say something?
He did say something like that. He's from down there too, so
now he can rap his heart out
with his good pal Trevor.
I feel like Trevor is gonna be like, Mac, you have to stop rapping. But we'll see. We'll see how it all unfolds.
I'm excited to watch.
Me too. Okay, let's get in. We have to start with the talk of the town, the expected number 1 draft pick, Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams, he's number 1 pick, expected to go to the Bears. Mm-hmm. He, in high school, was the Gatorade Player of the Year, whatever that means.
I always see that on people's Wikipedia. Every time, how I say that everybody has won the Heisman, which Caleb has won the Heisman
in 2022.
Everybody's also the Gatorade Player of the Year.
Even more exciting, the Gatorade Player of the Year. Yeah. But yeah, he's the highest ranked quarterback in the draft. I was originally down on him because he's a lot of a crybaby.
He cries.
And he's had a lot of demands leading up to the draft. Mm-hmm. I think his father was involved in this, to have ownership stake in the team he was drafted to. I haven't heard anything about that in a while, so I think that's done with.
Yeah.
After a loss against Washington, he said that he wanted to go home and cuddle with his dogs and watch some TV shows. He also ran into his mom's arms and cried behind like a sign she had after the game. Yeah. So I don't know. He's got a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
But after doing some more research, I think he's a really strong player. USC wasn't the strongest team. They had a really bad offensive line and no real weapons on the offense, and he threw 30 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions this past year.
Okay, Caleb.
And took USC to have a winning record. So I think if you can, I don't know, if you don't have 5 interceptions with a poor offensive line and you throw a lot of touchdowns with no one really out there, that's a good sign. You can work with that in the NFL.
He also is very much like a Gen Z guy. He paints his nails. He has like, I saw him
in touch with his emotions.
Yeah, he's in touch with his emotions. I think he's going to be good for the NFL. I think maybe if we're all a little more in touch with our emotions, we'll stop beating the crap out of our girlfriends and just, something to think about. So I'm going to say he's a stud.
I'm saying stud as well. Yeah.
Stud.
I'm rooting for Caleb.
It would be a shock if the Bears didn't pick him with their first pick, right?
Yeah. And I think he even said he wants to be their franchise quarterback and play for the next 20 years or whatever.
We should all be so lucky, Caleb.
Yeah. And I want to compare him quickly before we move on to the number 2 draft pick.
Okay.
Jaden Daniels, who was the quarterback at LSU. He is expected to be the number 2 pick.
Also won the Heisman.
They're
just handing it out like Halloween candy.
Yeah, 2023 he won. He's a dual threat quarterback, which means he can also run and throw. He kind of played at an opposite school of USC. LSU had a stacked team. They had a great offensive line. They had 2 of the top wide receivers in the draft. Oh. So I think he had it, pretty easy compared to Caleb. Mm-hmm. It's easy to be good when you have a lot of people to throw to.
Yeah.
He's also only 180 pounds, so he's kind of tiny for a quarterback. I don't know. I think I'm calling a dud on this one.
I couldn't find anything about his personal life, so I'm calling it a dud too because he seems a little boring. But I was going to say I like an underdog because he's small, but he won the Heisman and he's expected to be the second overall pick, so he's not an underdog. So he doesn't even have that going for him. Dud.
What about Bo Nix?
Okay, Bo Nix, also a quarterback. He's from Arkansas, coming from the University of Oregon. Football family. His dad was his high school football coach. His story was giving me Friday Night Lights. Like it's all about, I think he went to Auburn where his dad went, like very football family. But what I like about Bo Nix is that when he was in high school, his wide receiver, like the guy his go-to guy, or Tez Johnson, had a really tough upbringing. He said he didn't necessarily know where his next meal was coming from, if he would have a bed to sleep in that night. Bo Nixon's family adopted, not officially, but
took him in.
Practically took him in.
Oh, that reminds me of CJ Stroud and Bryce Young.
Yes. Yeah. Like practically brothers, grew up together since they were 15. They both went to different colleges.
Okay.
And then both transferred to Oregon, where they played together again. And I just think that's nice.
I like that. Is Tez in the draft?
He's a junior and he decided he's going to stay at Oregon for another year. So he's not, but maybe wherever Bo goes, he'll go and they can just be brothers playing football together forever. Unfortunately for the Tea Huddle, Nix at 24 years old is already married. So boring. To Izzy Smoke, which is a great name. She's a cheerleader from Auburn, which was the first school he went to.
Wow, the cheerleader and the quarterback.
Classic. He had 4 season-ending injuries, 2 torn ACLs, and 2 shoulder ailments. So, we'll see where he gets drafted. And if next year Tez Johnson goes with him. And if his marriage with Izzy Smoke can withstand NFL superstardom. I'm going to say, it's tough because dud, because you're already married. That's so boring. But stud, because I like your story. We'll go with stud.
Let's do stud.
Okay, stud.
I like his story. I like Tez. I'm giving it to both of them.
Another quarterback that everybody's talking about, especially this week, Michael Penix Jr. What do we have about him?
Yeah, Michael Penix Jr., he was the quarterback for the Washington Huskies. You may have watched him during the college championship against Michigan's J.J. McCarthy. They lost to Michigan, but still made it there. So Michael Penix, he's older because he is 24 when all the rest of these players are like 21. And that's a red flag to some teams. He's also been injured. He's over the hill. He's also been injured a lot. He's had 4 season-ending injuries in 4 years from 2018 to 2021, which included multiple ACL injuries on the same knee. Because of this, on Monday, he wrote a letter to all of the NFL's GMs as a final effort to secure a pick in the draft.
This was so interesting.
Yeah. In this letter, he discusses his humble upbringings in Dade City, Florida. He says, I'm a product of Dade City, Florida, population 7,600, no Trader Joe's, no Whole Foods, no steakhouses or country clubs, no personal quarterback coaches, no strength coach, no state-of-the-art training equipment. This is obviously comparing to some other quarterbacks in the draft who have had these luxuries, like Caleb Williams, J.J. McCarthy. He's just trying to show that he deserves it. And he ends the letter with saying he has no problem taking all the MRIs and x-rays that the general managers ask of him. The truth is, it's an EKG that will tell you everything you need to know about me, which I think is saying he's got a lot of heart.
I like that.
A lot of heart into the game.
Sort of a flashy move to publish a public letter to all the GMs. It feels like a last-ditch effort, maybe. Like he knew he needed something
to differentiate himself.
So I'm really curious to see where he gets drafted. But what are you going to say for him, stud or dud?
I think I'm going to say dud.
Wow. Oh,
I just, that's a lot of ACL injuries on one knee. I'm sorry. He wrote a whole letter. I hope somebody likes it out there.
I liked it. But no, this is football. We're not going to be swayed by a letter. Stud. Not everyone can be a stud. There's limited amount of studage to go around. And he talked a lot about J.J. McCarthy because you said they played against each other in the championship. So what's his deal, McCarthy?
J.J. McCarthy, he's honestly like more boring because he hasn't wrote an essay about himself.
Yeah, at least write a letter.
He led Michigan to the national championship.
Boring.
He is engaged to his high school sweetheart.
Even more boring.
He grew up a hockey player because his mom is a competitive figure skater. So that's kind of cool.
I like that.
But yeah, I think he just grew up completely different than Michael Penix, like very wealthy family, probably had all those private quarterback coaches and everything else. But
sounds like a dud to me.
We're going to call both of these guys duds.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Next up, we have Marvin Harrison Jr., which the name might sound familiar, but can you tell us a little bit about Marvin?
Yes. So he is a wide receiver coming from Ohio State. His dad is Football Hall of Famer wide receiver Marvin Harrison. He was Marvin Harrison Sr. He was a Colts player and he maybe killed somebody. So as soon as I read that, I stopped reading anything about Marvin Harrison Jr. So I actually don't know anything more about him, his dating life, if he's going to get drafted. But I'll tell you about his dad, Marvin Harrison. So football star. Then in 2008, he was in a fight with a low-level drug dealer named Dwight Dixon outside of a business that Harrison owned in Philly. And witness reports say that a few minutes after these two were getting in a fight, Dixon, the other guy, was shot. And Dixon alleged that Harrison is the one that shot him. And cops then found the same model of gun on Harrison that the bullet casings were
Seems
found.
like a lot of evidence to me.
Seems like he did it. But cops said they were unable to determine who pulled the trigger, so no charges were filed against Harrison.
So, we know it's one of you, but don't know which one.
Yeah, maybe you shot yourself. Less than a year later, Dixon was shot again. This time, sadly, he was killed. But before he died, he was in the hospital about to go into surgery, and he told cops that that this was all stemming from the original argument with Harrison a year ago, and that Harrison had hired a gunman to kill him. But again, no charges were filed and nothing happened. And then in 2016, Harrison was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Yeah, why not put you in the Hall of Fame?
He did it.
Not the first time.
The way they found the gun is that he was driving the wrong way on a one-way street, So they pulled him over.
Okay, that seems pretty obvious too. He's trying to run away.
Right? They pulled him over. They saw a gun in the car. He put it in the front console. They were like, is there a gun in your front console? And he said, no, I don't have a gun. But because they saw it, that was probable cause to search the car. They opened the console. They found the gun. The gun matched.
Wow.
And
not enough.
Nothing happened. So Again, I don't know really what this says about Marvin Harrison Jr., but Marvin Harrison Sr.
is a dud.
It does seem like is a dud because perhaps he
is a murderer.
Which just makes you a dud straight off the bat. I don't know that being the son of a murderer makes you a guaranteed dud, but I didn't do any more research on him. So for that reason, I have to call him a dud as well.
I hope that it's a different story for his son.
Same. Definitely. But okay, moving right along. Drake May. He's another one that people are talking about. As far as we know, he has not killed anybody. But what do we know about him?
Drake May, he played for UNC. His father also played in the NFL. His father, Mark May, was a safety for the Bears and the Chiefs. It's likely that he'll be drafted by the Patriots unless they trade their pick. But
maybe by the time this comes out, maybe they will have traded their pick. But as of right now,
they have not.
They have not.
And as of right now, he's the most likely draft pick for the Patriots. And I think I'm okay with it.
Mm-hmm.
But I think if the Pats pick up a quarterback, if any team picks up a quarterback, I don't know. Maybe I'd learn this from Tom Brady and watching the Dynasty. But when you draft a quarterback in the first round, I want to see this quarterback learning from a more senior quarterback, which for like a veteran, which would be Jacoby Brissett, I guess, for at least a little while before you put these young kids out in the NFL world. But
CJ Stroud, I feel like, is the exception, not the rule. And what's the other guy, the Panthers kid's name?
Bryce Young.
I feel like he's the rule. Like, just because you excelled in college.
It's a whole different rules set. Like, it takes some time.
And there's all these people that you've been watching on TV, and they're like,
you're young. Yeah, you're trying to like demand all this respect from these players who've been in the league. But yeah, I'm gonna say stud. I'm gonna trust and
stand behind your possible
guy.
I like it.
Next up, we have a personal favorite here on the Tea Huddle, Kool-Aid McKinstry.
Yes, so you heard that right. His name is Kool-Aid. His legal name is JaQuincy, but he goes by Kool-Aid. His family said that, like, unless they're, he needs a stern talking to, they're calling him Kool-Aid. It's
JaQuincy McKinstry.
JaQuincy McKinstry. Doesn't roll off the tongue quite like Kool-Aid. He was named that at birth, like in the hospital room by his grandma, because she said he looked up at her and smiled and it looked like the Kool-Aid man. And she had no idea it would stick like this. For 20 years,
What if your grandmother said that about you?
I feel like this guy's going to be a star.
Yeah.
The name Kool-Aid, how do you not? He's coming. I didn't even say what position because you hear Kool-Aid, you're just distracted entirely. He's a cornerback from Alabama. Mm. And when he was a freshman, he signed a name and likeness deal with Kool-Aid, the brand.
There you go.
So he's already
making some money.
Yep, doing his influencing. He has said that pink lemonade is his favorite flavor, which I didn't even know there was a pink lemonade flavor. So look, he's already opening our horizons.
Good marketing.
Yes. So I don't know how he is as a player, what team he's going to go to, but I love him and I love his name and he's a stud. Kool-Aid.
Okay, you remind me of another great nickname in the draft. There's just quick tangent here. Mm-hmm. Chop Robinson.
Chop.
Who played at Penn State. His mom nicknamed him Pork Chop because he was 14 pounds when he was born.
Oh my God.
He grew into it, but
she can name him anything she wants. She went through that.
Yeah, God bless her.
Pork Chop.
I can't comment on stud or dud. I just had to throw that in.
Yeah. I think that's great. Chop.
Next up, we have Brock Bowers.
Brock Bowers is a tight end coming from Georgia. He seems to have goofy tight end energy, which we love.
We do love that.
I think not a lot of tight ends are selected in the first round. I only think that because I read it, not because that's something that I know. Gronk was second round. Travis Kelce was third round. Wow, Travis Kelce was third round.
Yeah.
He gives first round.
Yeah, not many tight ends go the first round, but they're talking about Brock like he might. So
oh, that would be exciting. He is still with his high school girlfriend. She's stunningly beautiful. I feel like they'll be, a cute star.
Be following them during the season.
Mm-hmm. I feel like she's ready to be an influencer, be an NFL girlfriend, soon to be wife, fully projecting.
Joining Braxton Berrios's girlfriend there.
Exactly.
Stud or dud?
I'll give him a stud. I don't know why. It just feels right.
Tight ends, they're usually studs.
Yeah, Brock Bowers. It's like a studly name. We'll go stud. And then to round out our stud or dud, we're going to go to Quantez Stiggers.
This guy has the best story of anyone in the draft.
Oh my God. Ending on a high.
So he's not coming from a college.
Okay.
He is coming from the Canadian Football League. He's a cornerback. He played high school growing up, all of high school.
Is he from Canada?
No, he's from Georgia.
Okay.
I believe. But in February 2020, his father, Ravis Harrison, was involved in a car accident that left him in a coma. And ultimately, he passed away in September of 2020 when he was in school. Stiggers was in school. Mm-hmm. He then decided to quit college and stay home and help his family. His mom was a big part of his life. She kept signing him up for different football leagues around town. And then eventually she found this league called Fan Controlled Football on Facebook, which is an indoor, semi-pro, 7-on-7 football league in Atlanta. He played for a few years, got a call from the Canadian Football League, the Toronto Argonauts, and played there for a few years.
They're my favorite. I love the Argonauts.
And then this past year, he became the CFL's most outstanding rookie award with 5 interceptions.
Quantez.
Yeah, so he's making it through all of these different means.
Wow.
As of last week, he had 7 formal pre-draft visits from different GMs. Everyone's interested in this guy's story. He's obviously a hard worker. And he could be a rare draftee that never played college football. And I am rooting for him.
Me too.
I want him on the Patriots.
Yeah. Maybe he'll be a Lion.
Good luck, Quantez. We all know you're a stud.
Yeah, such a stud. We love that. I feel like we've got a handful of studs to look out for. I'm excited to see when the draft happens tonight, what they're wearing, who they're with, who's wearing sunglasses inside, because then you're
I feel like there'll be like a lot of moms in the stands. There's a lot of mama's boys on this draft class.
A lot of people
can respect that.
I love my mom. Everyone should.
I'd bring her.
Yeah. If I was getting drafted, I would bring my mom.
Absolutely.
And I would cry. So I can't hold that against Caleb Williams.
And that brings us to our final goss.
Final goss.
Oh my gosh, it's been so long since a final goss. I'm so excited. Sorry for just yelling in everybody's ears. I was too excited. Okay, this is going to be a little bit of a special final goss because it's a special episode and so much has happened. It's been so many months. We're going to do a final goss relationship roundup.
Ooh, I like it. Some updates,
exactly. So a lot has happened in the personal lives of our faves this offseason. Hot off the presses, Giants tight end Darren Waller and WNBA star Kelsey Plum. They were part of our final goss at the end of last season for divorce rumors that became official this Tuesday. It was announced on TMZ and everywhere else that they had filed for divorce. She gave us the gift of an Instagram story, not a notes app, but like basically it started with, "I'm devastated. I walked through fire for that man, but now I see it's time to go." And then she says, "One day I'll share my story. Today is not that day." So when that day does come, I will let you all know because we're ready to hear it. Other relationship updates. Bengals, Cody Ford, who we haven't talked about a lot, but his girlfriend is a TikTok creator, Tiana Robillard, and they just got engaged this past week.
Mazel.
Yes, mazel to them. So cute. Brock Purdy got married during the offseason. Josh Allen and Haley Steinfeld were seen all around town, as I mentioned.
They're serious now.
They're serious. They're public. They're official. Colts Quarterback Anthony Richardson and his longtime girlfriend are expecting their first child.
Aww.
Kristen Harper, who we love, fiance of my quarterback, Jared Goff, had her bachelorette party, which means that wedding has to be coming up soon.
A lot of off-season weddings.
Yes.
They're coming.
It's
a few months. It's the season.
Yeah. But let's get to some of the juice. So first up, CJ Stroud played at a celebrity softball game in mid-February, and Amber Rose was playing as well, and they were seen leaving together, getting into his car. I immediately got excited because she loves a celebrity. She was married to Wiz Khalifa. She dated Kanye West.
He has to be like half of her age.
At least. Yeah, let me look real quick.
Good for you, CJ.
She's 40 and he's
22.
Wow. Nailed it.
That's my guess.
So he's 2 years younger than a lot of the people who are getting drafted this year.
Makes sense.
Yeah. I got excited because I felt like he was due for a famous fling. He's the star rookie quarterback.
Yeah.
But that same day, she posted on Instagram that they had only just met at the softball game, and the sprinter that was supposed to take everybody home left without her. Convenient story. And he was just giving her a ride. So maybe that's true. And maybe they just didn't want as much publicity as their first hang got.
Let's keep our eyes out. Mm-hmm. Come fall, see if we can spot Amber Rose.
Yes, or somebody
in
else.
Texas.
Yeah, definitely. Then Kim and Odell, when we ended, they were hot and heavy. They were hanging out after the Super Bowl.
I know. I was really hoping for them to make it
at least to the next season.
Right.
And when there were rumors that maybe he was going to get drafted to the Chiefs,
yeah,
I was beside myself.
This could be good for.
Could this finally end the
Taylor.
Kim and Taylor feud? That was before the whole "Thank You, Amy" Kim coded song off of Taylor's new album.
It's not gonna happen.
It's not. That feud is set in stone. March 10th, Kim and Odell were seen at an Oscars after party together. We even got video of some PDA. She was holding his face and singing to him.
An elevator?
Yes. Oh, no. After the Super Bowl, they were getting into an elevator. This was in the corner of the Vanity Fair Oscar party. Then on March 23rd, so 2 weeks later, all of these reports came out from what I would say are non-reputable sites. Nothing on TMZ, nothing on Page Six, People. It was Daily Mail and some other sort of clickbaity sites.
Yeah.
Said this quote was going around everywhere, that Kim wants another child and she loves the idea of having a baby with Odell. He has such great genetics and she can't help imagining how beautiful their baby would be. I do think their baby would be beautiful. I do think it is a psychotic approach to think about someone for their genetics. I think people did not love that. There was a lot of backlash. My personal take is that is not.
She didn't say that.
I don't think she said that. I think it was just.
She's got her hands full.
Yeah, she has 4 kids.
Yeah.
And a nuts ex-husband. I don't think that. I don't know. So anyway, so that came out on the 23rd. And then the very next day, the 24th, it was announced everywhere that they had split up. Again, not.
Wow. She was like, I'm over these articles. Yeah. That's it.
Or was he I'm more than my genetics. I will not be a sperm donor.
I'm not a baby daddy.
Yeah. Or are they unrelated? Or are neither of them true? Again, TMZ hasn't reported either of these things. Page Six, our go-to sites. But they haven't been seen together since early March. So I do think they broke up. But I do not think she was trying to harvest him for his genetics. But maybe they're just laying low and they didn't really break up and we'll see them together again. That's my hope.
They'll rekindle before the fall.
Yeah. And lastly, our final relationship roundup of this episode is about one of our most favorite and most private stars, Joe Burrow. So we've been trying to figure out all last season.
He is so hard to figure out.
He's hard to nail down. We thought maybe he and his girlfriend, Olivia Halsmacher, were engaged, but maybe now they're not together at all. Dumois reported that he was seen at a wedding in April of his good friend. The wedding took place in Columbus, Ohio, and he was there solo. Sources say that he didn't do anything crazy. He didn't go to the after party, but he was there and he was like having a great time and living it up. So was she just not at the wedding? Was she not feeling it? Or
I feel like she just wasn't at the wedding. Like, people don't go to every wedding together, right?
People don't
I
go
mean,
to
I guess
every
if you're
wedding
engaged,
together.
But maybe she had a bachelorette, or she was busy.
Or her somebody else, maybe 2 weddings same weekend.
Yeah.
We don't know where
They
she is
split
all the
up.
time.
He can have fun without her.
Totally. He didn't, and it's not like he was
did
picking up
anything.
girls and
Yeah.
things like that. So we don't know about Joe Burrow.
We want a confirmation.
We need a photo of them together. We need her to go to a game. We need a ring on a finger. Some
Who is
sort
this
of
girl?
hard proof about Joe and Olivia. We're going to work on getting that for you all. So stay tuned for that.
Well, that's it for the first of our 2 draft episodes. We have a lot more that we didn't get into today.
We didn't even get into all of what Tyreek Hill has been up to this offseason.
So tune in next week when we know who got drafted to what teams.
And of course, the latest relationship news, goss, tea, all of it.
But until then, stay juicy.